Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy Storm Sage coming to you on the Sage Network, and this is going to be one of our first videos. We're going to be talking about Outriders. As you see from the thumbnail, is Outriders legit? Is it a legit game that you can jump into and play with April 1st? There's not a lot of things out there to play right now, so this is coming in at such a good time for Outriders to go ahead and take over the market, at least for the next month. Now, Monster Hunter Rise, I believe, is the name on Switch. Now, it's a Switch only title. Monster Hunter Rise has recently come out, and a lot of people seem to be hyped on that. If you want to see me cover Monster Hunter Rise, let me know. I'm thinking about downloading it, and that way we can cover it on this channel. I played a little bit of World, but you know, I got through to end game on World, and it was actually a fun game. I've never played a Monster Hunter before World. But is Outriders legit? The answer is yes. I'm going to go ahead and answer that right away for you, but the reasonings why it may not be what you think. Let me give you just a general overview of what Outriders is. Outriders is a game produced by Square Enix. That's right, those makers of Final Fantasy, who are, you know, they're wizards, or I should better say sages, in RPG gameplay. It's a looter shooter, okay? It's going to be primarily with shooting as with your gun, whereas Diablo is more of that just RPG style, over the top gameplay looter game. But it's a lot of what Outriders is trying to do is very Diablo-esque, Division-esque. Very Division. If there's a game, I wouldn't say this game is like Destiny. I say you want to compare this game to Division a little bit more, as there's going to be world tiers. That means that you can go to different tiers, and the enemies that you face are going to be progressively harder and harder. So that is what I mean by world tiers, and that is also in the Division. So this gameplay is going to be like that. There's going to be classes involved. Right now there's 4 classes only. That's one of my biggest, and I'm gonna have a video on that. That's one of my biggest issues with the game, is that there's only 4 classes available right off the bat. But as Square Enix is backing this, there's 3 different skill trees for each class. So technically there's 12 different ways to play, depending on which tree path you go in each class. So you have the Devastator class, kind of your tank type class, run in, take a lot of damage, and utilize that to help his team. You have the Devastator class, which is kind of like your assassin class, your melee centric class that goes in there, gets the job done real quick, and then gets out. You have your Technomancer class, which is the class I will be maining first. Technomancer is the class where you're going to be using gadgets, turrets, and it's also does healing as well, so outward healing to your teammates. So probably one of the primary support classes in the game. And then the 4th class that we're going to be talking about, and there will be a video concerning the Fire Witch build for Pyromancer. Pyromancer is going to be your class where it's going to basically be your AoE class, long distance fire attacks, spells, waves, things of that nature. So keep that in mind when you're playing the game, those 4 types, what your play style is in most other either looter shooters or looter genre games. In Destiny, if you are a Titan player, you're going to want to go Devastator. If you are a wizard, if you are a Warlock player, you're probably looking at, you know, Technomancer or Pyromancer, of course. And then again, if you're a hunter, you're probably looking at that Devastator class. Is going to be kind of that correlation with Destiny. Same thing with Division. Division has just a bunch of gadgets, so it's hard to compare Division to any games that have any type of elemental status to them. What I feel like is missing so far that takes away from how legit this game is just 1 to 2 more classes. I like at least a minimum of 6 classes, 2 types of classes or elemental classes for each role that they're trying to play. So 2 tank, 2 tank type classes, 2 damage type focused classes, and then 2 support type classes. And so the fact that they don't have, they're kind of breaking it down in trees rather than adding assets to different types of abilities and different types of elements is a little concerning for me. And they haven't spoken about any potential additions. So, and especially since in the game, you see a lot of other characters use other abilities for specifically the lightning ability. There's a boss that is just shooting lightning energy blast everywhere, doing like typhoon, tornadoes, electricity fence. They're just doing all these abilities. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, this is so cool. Like, this guy looks amazing. I want to play as him. And there's no way to do any of what he's doing. Now, there may be secrets, there may be things that we just don't know yet, but I doubt it. It would have been data mined already. If there were secret unlockable classes in the game, it probably would have been data mined already, seeing as this game is on PC. But that is my only caveat so far with the game. Now, the gameplay, I did play the demo. The demo gameplay was okay. They have some kinks to work out. I know a lot of people was worried about the frame rate issues in cutscenes, and to be honest, it doesn't bother me. That motion blur movie effect doesn't affect me. Now, I can see how it can be annoying for most people, but it doesn't affect me personally. But I know it's an issue for majority. So they have to fix that, and they have stated that they are going to do something about that and try to fix it, try to slow down the motion a little bit. Another thing that you need to know about this game is that it is available on all systems, and it has crossplay. But it does not have cross save. Okay, so cross play, no cross save. So just understand that if you do go to another system, yes, you can play with other people. So if I'm on PC, I can play with someone on PlayStation. I can play with someone on Xbox. But if I wanted to go ahead and move my character over to another system, I would basically have to start from scratch. So that is just how that system works. It's okay. This kind of sucks for people who may want to switch over to a system where their friends are primarily at, for purposes of voice chat, just ease of use, things of that nature. But to be honest with you, it's not a big deal for me because there's crossplay. I would prefer to have crossplay over cross save any day of the week. And cross save may be something they can add in the future if the game continues to gain in popularity. Now, the last thing I wanted to speak on, and this is going to be the big one, this is also a big one, is that Outriders is coming out in a time where there is no games that are worth, huge games that are out right now. Okay, Monster Hunter Rise is the main game, and then you really don't have anything else except for games of service. You have the Marvel game, which it's not really that popular, even though they just came out with an update, the Hawkeye update. Put it in the comments. Do you want me to play that? Do you want me to see how that game is? It doesn't look like I'm gonna enjoy it, but on top of that, Destiny 2, this is kind of that area in Destiny 2 where the content gets a little dry where it's at in the season. And so we're in a point right now where Outriders can really come in here and take over the market for the next couple of months. The main thing that we're going to be looking at as players is the end game. We were able to do some legendary item grinding in the demo. It was terrible. You get terrible drop rates and etc. at this world tier we're at right now, but it's good that people were able to get a glimpse of what late game farming would be if once they get to that point. There's been some stuff that's been coming out of late game. It's going to be completely different areas. They have things set forth, but there's nothing in the plans to continue to pump out content on like a monthly rate. So this isn't a games as a service. This isn't your Destinies. This isn't your Marvel. This is purely a game. You get what you get, but they've already implemented systems of grinding within the game with kind of like a cap of how far you can go up to a certain amount with the world tiers, which is a Diablo strategy that worked very well. Okay, I never got to play Diablo, but what I've heard from people is that Diablo's, vertical gameplay was amazing, especially in endgame, because you can keep scaling basically the enemies infinitely, continue to work on your builds, continue to get better weapons, items to get those builds better, and then continue to vertically go higher. And it's kind of like that carrot on the stick to continue to go up the ladder with stronger enemies, stronger content, and different things like that. Now, if this game does well, I have a feeling resources will be placed into it to provide DLC. They're not promising anything right now. The developers have been very forthcoming on Twitter as well of their plans, what's happening, what's going to happen, updates done to the game. And that's super good to see. But the way they're talking about the game does have me a little worried about the longevity of the game. Will this game be able to stand the test of time? And I honestly want to tell you guys out there that it might not, and that's on purpose based on what the devs are saying. This is a game in which you can come in, you can play, you buy it, that's it. Will there be some microtransactions? Of course. We're living in 2021. There is going to be microtransactions, but they're not going to be trying to shove those down your throat in order to progress in the game. It's more or less probably going to be cosmetic. So if you are a microtransaction guy, it looks like there's going to be mostly cosmetics in here, and you get what you get with the initial price point of the game. Another reason why this is big, it's on Game Pass, Xbox Game Pass. So that means that most of the Xbox players who can take advantage of this, of the Game Pass, will probably end up playing this game. So you're gonna have a lot of Xbox users on there day one. It's also available on Stadia, day one, Stadia. So anybody, anywhere who wants to pick, pay the money will be able to play Stadia from any piece of equipment, phone, computer. We're gonna have videos about how I feel about Stadia on another one, but that's good. That's still a good thing, because availability is half the battle for these games. So I'm just letting you know right now that this game's gonna be super popular for about 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, and it's gonna go through YouTube, because there's nothing else other than the staples that are already there that it's going to compete against. And so you're going to see a lot of people play it. You're going to hear a lot about it. Now, can it stand the test of time? Is it a legit game to pick up for your library? I can't tell you directly, but what I'm telling you is that in my eyes it is, because it looks like they've created the game to give you $60 worth, old school style, N64 style, where they have all of the secrets, all of the equipment, all the items. It's packaged into those $60 that you're paying, so you don't have to worry about having to shell out $15 in 2 to 3 months for stuff that should have been in the original game. That's the main issue, because DLC should be DLC, content that was thought about after the fact and not the game being good. And so that's what I was always worried about with Destiny. That's what everyone says is a content being held in order to be packaged as DLC later, in order to keep that monetary carrot on the stick, instead of making it about the gameplay and the content within it. And Outriders seems to be doing it all right. And so we're going to be covering Outriders extensively, doing different builds. We're going to be doing it all. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to figure out how to get a lightning build in this game. I'm going to figure it out. Okay. But this game seems legit. This game seems like it's going to be on the market, top on the market, at least for console gamers for the next couple of months. So definitely look into it. The beautiful thing about it is that it has a demo, so you can jump into the demo, see how you like the combat. Hopefully they get some of these bugs and glitches. One of the main issues that I had was the cover system was a little yeah, you know what I'm saying? So they have to work on some things, but overall the experience was good, and I think the gameplay loop is going to be amazing. You're going to be able to sit down with your boys and play this game when you get home from, this is what I have vision. You get home from work, you're tired, you get all your house stuff done. You want to sit down, jump into a game and shoot some dudes and get some loot. And this game looks like it's going to pretty much give you what Destiny gives you at a much efficient clip with less grinding involved. It sounds like you'll be able to, over time, get to where everyone's getting to, because there's never going to be an extension to the content. It is what it is at this present time, and it's probably going to stay like that for a while. So you don't have to rush. You don't have to, you don't have to go above your pace. You can do what you got to do in the time that you're able to do it based on your life and your situations. And I think that's where Outriders is king. This is your boy, Storm Sage, and I'm telling you, always follow your ninja way. Peace, y'all.